Hello friends, we'll be discussing the concept of internal economies of scale. What do you understand by internal economies of scale? As we have already known that internal causes in relation to increase or rather decrease in the causes or rather increase or decrease in the average cost of the output or average cost of production with increase in size of the plant or increase in the size of the output. So here internal economies will refer to the reduction in the average cost of production because of either size plant increase or the output being increased. Now let us understand what exactly it means. So internal economies of scale are associated with the expansion of the scale of output of the firm. They are derived indirectly as a result of expansion of the industry to which it belongs. Listed below are some of the leading sources of economies. Now, the basic details that are provided here, that means with every expansion, whether there is an expansion done of the size of the plant or the size of the output here, with all the relations or rather all the causes, internal economies that happen. So these are the causes that are mentioned here. Now what are they exactly? First is managerial economies. These economies arise on the account of scoping, employing better qualified training managers. Imagine you have certain people who are not skilled enough to do the job. Will you have efficiency in the company? You won't. Imagine now that you have better qualified people who are getting the job done within hours, which earlier used to take days. Now you'll have better efficiency here. So here you have similar kind of cost that is going there, but the profit is increasing. Eventually the average cost or rather average output, or if you have to say average cost of two people, is equivalent enough or rather it's less as compared to hiring 10 people and getting the job done. So if you have 10 people who are doing the same job and two people can do the same job within hours, they're saving your time as well. The cost is also low and you have efficiency with you. So these are the marginal economies here. Now profitable situation or rather managers and employees who are able to take quicker and more profitable decisions here. Hence, quicker and profitable decisions refer to managerial economics. In addition, management experts are exploring new methods of improving the management of the firm and reducing its cost of operation. So basically here the point is reducing the cost of operation. This is one of the thing. Now this can be done only with the help of management. So efficient management is one thing. That means you need to have good skilled people who can take quick decisions and profitable ones. So profitable and quick decisions can be used or rather can be taken only by skilled people who are very more knowledge or rather who are very much experienced with these kind of things in the past year. Hence managerial economies is one of the important point that you need to understand. Now the next part refers to financial economies. Financial causes. Earlier managerial causes leads to reduction in the average cost of production. How does financial economics or rather financial causes helps you in reduction in the cost of production? Let us understand that. It is a common knowledge that most firms have to depend on borrowed funds. You do business, you don't put your money, you borrow funds and then you do the business. The lenders, while deciding the rate of interest to be charged on their loans, give due importance to the credit worthiness of the borrower. Now this term credit worthiness refers to, are you able to repay the money or rather will you be able to repay the money in near future on time? Are you credible enough? Can we lend you that much of money? Can we charge that much of interest and or rather low interest rate and give you that much of money, and can we expect that kind of returns from you? This word is known as credit worthiness. Now, and other things being equal, bigger firms enjoy greater credit worthiness. That means the more established a firm is, the more funding it can procure. The new established or rather newly established firm will have less credit worthiness because people are not aware about these companies. For example, let's take a new bank comes into the picture here, maybe some other XYZ bank, and a bank which is already established from last 20 years. Let's take for example HDFC is already established since last 20 years. Whom would you bet on? If you have to give money to some company, will you give it to HDFC or will it be transferred to some bank which is just right now established here, considering the situation that most of the banks are going under scams and they are shutting down. So this is the credit worthiness that you need to check. So the big the player, the big the credit worthiness here. Accordingly, they are able to borrow or rather they are able to borrow on lower rates. Now, bigger the bank, better the established it is, it has more bargaining power to control the rate of interest. Else, if you are a new player here, you need to understand whatever rate of interest they are providing or the lender is providing, you have to take that interest rate. But if you have already established, if you have a market value of your own, you can bargain the rate of interest. You can absolutely charge that you will take this money only at this rate of interest and you will provide this much of profit. This is what your bargaining power will be if you are established here. Now, for the same reason, they have opinions, or rather also have the options of raising additional sources through equity capital. If the company is already established, they can absolutely link themselves with the stock exchange and raise the funding from public itself through issuing shares here. So this is one of the additional thing where you can reduce the cost as in financial thing. Now, capital is one of the factors of production that can reduce your cost. But if you are taking capital from lender who's charging you higher rate of interest, eventually you have to pay that rate of interest, and that is bringing up the cost of your product here. Indirectly, not directly though. Hence, you need to see better options whereby you can get lower rate of interest, first part, whereby you have greater credit worthiness. That means you need to get more funding with less documents, less paper, and less rate of interest. So this is what you need to understand. Now, the next part refers to technical economies. With an increase in the scale of output, the choice of inputs and their varieties become wider for the firm. With an increase in the scale of the output, that means the output is increasing here, the choice of input and the technology that is used, so both these things have to be chosen in very specific manner. Now, inputs can be 1, 2, 3. You have 3 different inputs. Which one is the best input for your product, and which technology can suit it, or rather can be suitable for either of this factors of production, has to be considered. So it should go parallel, it should go hand in hand. Only then you will be able to make a wise decision whether the cost is going to reduce or whether the cost is going to go up. So for example, if product 1, or rather input 1, is more suitable with technology 3, which is the recent one, you will take that option because it is more suitable with that and the technology is new. So it is going to give you more of supply with less of cost. But if the product 3 is cheap and it is used with technology 2, which is a little more expensive in making the product, not the technology itself, but the process is a very lengthy process, but both these things are very cheap. So you need to understand it is going to take a lot of time for you to go ahead and build so much of product, considering that you have to be into a cutting edge competition with your rivals here. So you need to select the products very wisely here. It can go for, or rather it can go in for those machines and equipments, etc., which have higher marginal productivity as compared with their cost. In other words, it is possible to get a larger output per unit of cost incurred on them. Now, here they are talking about machines or equipments, technology basically, which can give you higher output with the similar cost. Why? Is because if you are getting 10 mangoes for 100 rupees and if you are getting 30 mangoes for 100 rupees, which one will you go, or which one will you buy? You will buy the one whereby you're getting 30 mangoes for 100 rupees, because here the quantity is more, the cost is remaining the same, hence it is feasible enough for you. Now, the next part refers to byproducts. An increase in the scale of output also generates bigger flow of waste. Byproducts are basically waste products. Now, waste products that we are talking about, that is byproducts. So whatever waste is generated because of the actual product. So if your actual product is 100% of raw material, the final product will come as of 90%. So this additional 10%, or rather the other 10% that we are talking about, is completely a byproduct, that is the waste. When the scale is small, the firm is not able to use these products as additional earning. So basically, if your output is not much, these all 10%, whatever it is there, it cannot be used again, it cannot be recycled again. But when the generation crosses, or rather generation of waste crosses a critical limit, it becomes often possible for the firm to produce certain byproducts or sell them off and add it to the income. So if at all these byproducts are sold out, if they are recycled and sold out again as certain other product, it can add to the income of the company here. Hence, byproduct can also help in you, or rather it can help you in reducing the cost of the specific product, cost of your firm, average cost of the output will be reduced here by default. Now, better utilization of reports, it is one more thing, better utilization or optimum utilization of inputs or resources. Various inputs, particularly machines and equipments, are lumpy and indivisible. Lumpy as in big, indivisible as in you cannot cut them. Hence, they also require time intervals for maintenance and servicing. If all your machines are timely serviced, timely repaired, and they are properly taken care of, it can give you actual output for number of years. Any one of them can go out of order and require repairs. If a machine goes out of order or it is otherwise not able to operate, then the firm will, or rather with a small scale, will not be able to find its substitute and its production suffer. For example, if a bigger company is there, they can absolutely replace the product because these machines cannot be cut or cannot be taken as per the size of the firm. These machines are going to be indivisible here. So you need to understand, for a smaller firm, it becomes very huge expense, but for a bigger company, it is fine. Now, when the smaller firm comes into the picture, they have to take absolute care of the machines just because these machines are expensive for them, and to replace them, they will have to take a lot of funding and a lot of things will be required here. Now, for example, if a transport company has only one truck and that needs some repair, its employees are left unemployed for time being, though the firm has to pay them all the while. Just a very simple example, you have one truck, okay, and this truck is not functioning right now. Hence, your driver, your cleaner, everyone will be on leave. Basically, they will still be at work, but they will have no work here. Hence, you will have to pay them their money, which is earning, or rather which could have led to certain earning if this truck was moving, or rather this truck was in functional mode. Now that this thing is not happening, you need to understand that this thing, or rather this cost, is adding up to the cost, or rather adding up to the average production cost here. Hence, in contrast, a firm with bigger scale is able to adjust the availability of its machinery. Now just imagine if instead of one truck you had 10 trucks. Out of those 10 trucks, one truck isn't functioning, so these driver and cleaner could have been sent to that product, or rather that truck, or any other truck apart from those 10, and you could have managed that thing, or rather you could have made use of the driver and the cleaner for some other purpose, and that, or rather for that, you would have paid them. So that is absolutely fine. Hence, such equipments, or rather in such matters, the downtime of various input is adequately taken care of. You have to take care of the downtime, which is supposed to be very, very minimal here. Now when this economies of inventories come into the picture, economies as in positive of inventories, a bigger size firm is in better position to adjust its stock of inputs and finished products, etc., in such a manner that the normal discrepancy between the flows of productions and sales are ironed out. The more organized your delivery is, that means if you have stock with you which is of raw material and finished good both, so if you have adequate stock with you to meet the supply criteria, then in that case the demand and the supply is handled very smoothly. So this demand and supply that we're talking about has to go hand in hand. It shouldn't be the case whereby the supply is delayed and the demand goes down. So if the demand is made today, you should be able to supply those goods tomorrow or day after. But any delay, like the delay is done for a week or a month, the demand is done today, and you're saying that you will give the goods, or rather you will give the goods after 1 month, after 2 months, that will lose its demand, the product will be completely gone. So this is one thing that you need to or rather take care of. Marketing economies. Marketing is one of the most important factor in any business. You need to understand that every time a company has to go through any kind of funding, any kind of establishment, any kind of positive review, marketing is one of the major important concept. It gives you, or rather it gives the company a visual aspect. It gives the company a face where it can represent in front of the consumers, in front of the public, which if they prefer, or rather if the public or if the consumers find them very appealing, the product is going to be sold out like crazy. Now, a large firm also reaps the advantages of buying and selling in bulk. All right, as a result, it is able to procure its input at concessional prices. So if you procure a lot of stuff, you get certain discounts there. Similarly, on the account of bulk selling, it averages selling cost come down. Now, if bulk is procured, bulk are sold out, or rather sent out, average production cost and average selling cost is also going down. It can also have separate sales and marketing department which can undertake the job of marketing its product in a professional manner. They also have different specific department which are related to marketing, so they can specify or rather they can do their job in a specific way which will help the company deal with other things in a better manner. In addition, its sheer size impart its bigger strength, or rather the sheer size of any company is depending on how big the departments are. Now, advertising, again, it's a social media marketing that we're talking about, visualization of the company. When the firm is not operating under conditions of perfect competition, it is obliged, that means it is statutory, to undertake various activities to promote its sales. Promotion of sales is very, very important, and this can be done by advertising. So, it is found that a small firm is not able to afford advertising. Why? Is because the cost of advertising is very heavy, because it has to be repetitive to be successful. Again, heavy cost, it has to be repetitive, hence it cannot be affected, or rather it cannot be borne by the small companies, but the big companies can absolutely afford it because the cost becomes minimum for them and they can repeat that thing. Hence, with an increase in the advertising budget, a firm is able to diversify its program so as to cover more and more of consumers, more and more of media. As a result, its per unit expenses come down. So if you have a budget for advertising, this budget can be diversified into different medias, like some can go on Insta, some can go on Facebook, some can go on different platforms. So all the platforms can be used here to make sure that your product is visible to the consumers. Now, the next part refers here to risk economies. Now, a large firm can diversify its product lines and thereby reduce the average risk faced by it, since all the product lines are not likely to generate losses simultaneously. Risk firm is whereby one company is not just making one single product, it is making one product, it is making some other kind of product, it is making some third kind of product. Like Reliance is into telecom, okay, Reliance is into power, Reliance is into infrastructure. Now, at any point, all these companies cannot bear loss at one single point. Now, on 31st of December, if you have to take, can we assume that on 31st of December, telecom, power and infrastructure, everything will go in loss? It is not practical. Hence, the company needs to diversify, or rather put their hands into different products, so that if there is loss in this product, the other two products can compensate for that loss. This is how you diversify your fundings, or rather this is how you diversify your business here. Now, the firms can compensate its loss from some lines with the profit of others. A large firm also has better command over resources compared with a small firm. So all these things, or rather all these economies that we spoke about, refers to internal economies of scale. So this is all that we have to discuss about when it comes to this specific topic. That's it. Thank you.